Hello everybody and welcome to another review, and today we are going to be reviewing Sephi's enhancements. Basically, this is the first of two videos that deal with white-haired guys who, use big katanas, and honestly, they both have a little bit of commonality between them. But right now, here in Japan, it is super hot. The weather has scorched itself up to a very uncomfortable 37 degrees. And so it's not just Brave Exvius where on the JP side where all the hotness is happening. Hotness is an excitement. Anyway, long story short, let's get right into it. Now, Sephi has always been one of my favorite characters in Brave Exvius. First, they pretty much nailed his animations from the game. His sprite looks fantastic, and I love the green materia flare that comes underneath the characters from Final Fantasy VII, but especially Sephiroth. And of course that limit burst animation. It doesn't just do a lot of damage, it actually looks really cool too. But Sephiroth has finally gotten his enhancements, and the one very key detail that I've noticed about it is they're expensive, man. Approximately not approximately, I should say, 7 million gil. So right now, on the JP side, if you were getting your first, 2 Sephiroths to make your first 7-star, you'd have to pay 3 million gil for that, and now a total of 7 million gil on top of making that 7-star makes him a very expensive unit to build. Just in general, he is an expensive unit to make. But what do his enhancements give? Are they even really worth it? Yes, I have to say that's a really easy yes to say. First of all, Sephiroth has still been a really good unit. One big advantage of Sephi is that, he still chains with everyone, pretty much. There's maybe one or two types of major chaining that he can't do, but for the most part he chains with everyone important, meaning that he is a very flexible character to put as your friend unit. For the longest time though, he has been dual wield and not necessarily a really good true dual hand since he can't double cast his abilities. And so that's the first thing we're going to take a look at, is this one, where basically the first enhancement you give to this turns it to a 30% attack. Now that's pretty noticeable for his dual wield, but if you want to build him as a true dual hand, basically you're going to take it to the second step here. That is going to completely replace that 30% attack, so you will lose that 30% attack, but instead you will get a W cast ability, where you can use quite a few of Sephiroth's katana chaining abilities twice. Basically allows this guy to enter the true dual hand era. And that's pretty damn good for him. Next up is Katana Mastery. Now, originally this was pretty much, I believe, just a 50%. Now it has gone up to 80%, but enhancing it to its second level will give it a bonus of 50% to true dual hand, or 30% when dual wielding. And that's true dual wield. So basically it's just some extra dual wield stats on top. But when I enhanced this, I noticed a fairly noticeable jump in Sephi's attack. So nothing to complain about here. This is just really, really good. And of course, next is probably, wow, so many of these are just so good that it's hard to say that one really benefits from the other. But Heaven's Weep, or Heaven's Weep, or the Heavens Wept. Anyway, this is his Holy Explosion chaining attack, and it is 7 hits. It went up by its first enhancement by a 20% modifier, which doesn't sound impressive, and that's because it's not. But its second enhancement is the real juicy bit right here. We're talking about a 500% 7-hit attack that debuffs Light and Dark of 60% for 3 turns to a single target, but now it is backloaded. Now, if you don't know what backloaded means, backloaded basically means that all the damage, or most of the damage, is on the final hit. So you'll get those small little hits, and then the big hit at the end. It basically caps off a chain, essentially. And I gotta say, they probably overdid it a little bit, because Sephiroth's goes 2, up to 12%, and then the final hit has 88% of the damage on it. So that's really impressive for chaining. Absolutely. It's actually just really nice. And next up is his 60 MP. Now this ability is called Reunion. Now by its first upgrade, it gives it a higher amount of Limit Burst fill, which is just nice because Sephi's Limit Burst is really powerful. So totally happy about this. But if you enhance it a second time, you will get a self 4-turn plus 30% damage from his Limit Burst. So not only does it power up, you know, charge his Limit Burst, heal himself, heal his MP, all of that good stuff, but 30% Limit Burst damage is not necessarily a small amount. Sephiroth's fully charged up is a 1150 that ignores 50% defense, so adding an extra 30% on that, when it also debuffs for light and darkness, is really good. Just really good. Sephiroth's always been a strong, powerful Limit Burst contender, especially because of that light and darkness debuff on it. That can be just for so many turns, basically 3 to 5, depending on how much you have upgraded. And the last one is Legendary Soldier, which, first of all, upgrades the attack on it, so now it has 60% attack. But Legendary Soldier's second enhancement allows it to have a 30% chance to counter either physical or magical with learning Triple Cast for 1 turn. Now, at first glance, you may be like, oh, it's a counter, it's not going to proc all the time, but a 30% chance is a pretty decent chance that it will proc, first of all. Second of all, just have an itch on the end of my nose, so bad. Honestly, the one place that I thought that this would be really valuable is in Arena. Sephiroth hits really hard with a hard counter in Arena that does a lot of HP damage. If he also procs this ability giving him Triple Cast for a turn, then you can use his AoE ability 3 times in a turn, and that's pretty strong too. So long story short, I think that Sephi is pretty damn good. We'll show off basically the 2 abilities that he has. Now the other thing I should mention about building Sephiroth, especially in his 7-star form, is that his own TMR mastery actually does do a lot for him. Now I have mine pretty well enhanced, but equipping the new Super TMR level Katana from the Gilgamesh Extreme Trial dropped his attack considerably, so equipping his own TMR is pretty beneficial to himself. Not to mention that Sephi just has really good HP and still really good stats otherwise. Showing off, I have CG Hayus here, which not the best, probably would be a little bit better if I had a Katana one, but that's on a different character right now. And material-wise, you know, 2 Nal and Narus, 1 Vincent, and 1 just 30% attack, so not necessarily stressing the best, but it's probably because most of my attack stuff is here. So, first of all, just to show off what his... Whoops. No, Axstar, your video is next. So these are all of the abilities that we can do with Sephiroth's double cast ability. First of all, his AoE attack, which is great news for Arena, his multi-chaining attacks in his 6-star, and even his 7-star. So this allows him to get either Holy or Light and then start doing some chaining damage right away. Again, one of the things I really like about it. Now you can't double cast his healing ability, but that would be probably too strong. I mean, it would probably be just generally too damn strong. Alright, so repeat. We want that limit burst charged. So it charges a little bit faster, which is good because now you can just get to that limit burst faster too. So reload all of that. Now we will do this. We're going to get ready to use this guy in a second. But let's see how much damage this does. Not bad. For no human killers that I'm aware of, well, no extra human killers, 23 million is pretty damn strong. But again, we will get right in here and we are going to use a light chaining and Heaven's Wept so that we can do some damage. And I just have to remember. Don't think I want the AT chaining. Think we want just his 72 MP. This won't chain perfectly, but should be interesting. 48 million. Not bad. There won't be so much of an elemental, but since Sephiroth can chain with so many different people, it makes him a very, 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 very powerful unit. So, Sephiroth's enhancements, are they worth the money? Yeah, Sephiroth was pretty much just the best dual-wield character still on the JB side, but now he is in the true dual-hand meta, and thankfully the true dual-hand meta is super good for him. You do see him as a friend unit. He is a viable option, although I mean, we're also in the middle of Axstar Insanity right now. But I have seen 2,700 attack Sephiroths, and I believe it can go even higher, up to approximately 2,900. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like there's... Yes, it looks like most of the Cephis have changed to Axstars currently. There's a 2,700. So, again, Sephi can be built to be pretty damn strong if you don't get Axstar. Okay, this one does have it, but I think it has generally better equipment than mine does. Yeah, 70%, yeah. I still think the better way to build him is with his own TMR, but you can build it. Maybe I just haven't been lucky enough with the weapon of fate enhancement. But fully recommend all of the enhancements. They may be expensive. He may be essentially a 10 million gil unit. But I think he's worth every dime, and he will continue to be useful for a long time in the future, so long as Holy Explosion and CG Reagan style chaining families are popular. Which is basically forever. So that's all for now. I will see you in the next video. See you then.